The first move was, for me, was not to quit drinking. The first move was to get healthy. My body hurt. I had a ton of inflammation. Again, I gained the bad weight, not the good weight. I got fed up and I wanted to get lean again. I wanted to get fit again. I started jiu-jitsu, and alcohol just kind of stopped fitting into that plan. This August will be 7 years since I've had a single drop of alcohol, not one. And I did not white knuckle it. I did not count days. I didn't work a program. I did the one thing, and it's the one thing that actually has ever worked for me. I drew a freaking hard line in the sand. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how I got to, because if you are a veteran and you're still drinking, this is a conversation nobody is having with you straight. And I'm a big component for vets just not drinking. You know, listen, I'm not going to say that you have to do anything. I'm not going to draw a hard line for you. You do what you have to do. I'm just saying, for me, it's a net negative. We're going to talk a lot about that. But the truth of the matter is, I was drinking heavily to the point that it was a problem. Like a point where I was drinking, getting through probably a bottle and more of Maker's Mark a week. Probably 2 bottles a week, honestly. And it was, I would drink until I basically passed out. Now you mix that with washing a bag of VA pills down your throat with whiskey, on top of each other. It's not a good look. You know, like I said, going from 240 pounds at 10% body fat to 240 pounds at 30% body fat is quite the move. Plus you're dealing with a lot of emotional and mental things. It just doesn't add up. So here's what most people get wrong. The first move was, for me, was not to quit drinking. The first move was to get healthy. My body hurt. I had a ton of inflammation. Again, I gained the bad weight, not the good weight. And I got fed up and I wanted to get lean again. I wanted to get fit again. I started jiu-jitsu, and alcohol just kind of stopped fitting into that plan. Like, how do you get up at 5:45 in the morning and go freaking fight human beings and grown men, you know, choking you out? So once I realized that I needed to clean it up and this was costing me, then I started to get mostly sober. You know, a drink here, a little wine here, a little ouzo here, you know, but it wasn't to the point where I was like having 6 drinks a night and you know, 6 glasses of whiskey a night. So that was a bridge, not a destination. I realized that there was a moment that shifted, that I needed to start cutting it down. And then eventually cutting it down, I just drew the line in the sand and said no. And I looked at and what happened for me was I looked at the damage that the veteran community was going through with alcohol, what it was doing to the vets, what it was doing to their marriages, what it was doing to them as a father. And I said, you know what, and men in general, like the alcohol consumption in men in general, what it was doing. And I just came down to where I said, I can't be a part of this. Like, even just one drink, like, I can't be a part of this. I can't, if I'm gonna tell people like, hey, you should stop drinking, or like, this is a part of your problem with your life, like, I can't be a hypocrite in the same time going home and having a couple drinks. I just felt like I was either in or I was out. I wasn't going to half-ass it. We're going to full-ass whatever we do. So I was going to full-ass this thing. So, and that's what I had the conversation with myself. I was like, hey man, either you're in or you're out. And I wanted to be in. So I made a decision. It wasn't a struggle. It was a decision. And that's the whole point of this video, is I drew a freaking line in the sand. And here's the real reason. Here's why I drew the line in the sand and never looked back. Was at that time, me growing my business, this was almost 7 years ago. I looked at everything as an ROI, return of investment. And I could not keep anything in my life that did not give me a return. And nobody, not one person, has ever been able to sell me on a single return that alcohol gives me. Not one. It is a net negative every single time. No matter how good the story around it sounds, it is still a net negative. Now, let me actually give you a little bit of like bro science, if you will, anecdotal science. And for one, ethanol is the 4th macronutrient. So you have proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, right? Ethanol is a macronutrient. and your body treats it basically like poison, and it has to deal with it first. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to do something and you consume alcohol, your metabolism has to burn that ethanol before it touches anything else in your life and your system. So if you're trying to lose fat and you just had a bunch of drinks, you just shut down your fat burning, because it has to burn off that ethanol before it touches any of your other caloric intake. So the fat just sits there waiting for your body to handle the alcohol, because it's essentially poison and it has to get it out of there. Then it wrecks your sleep. I know that people think, oh, I'm going to have this one drink and it's going to help me go to sleep. Yeah, you can pass out, but your deep in your REM is not getting what it needs to be. You're not going to get actual quality sleep with any sort of substance adding to your body to help put you down. This is the reason why sleep hygiene is so important. And sleep is as a restorative for fat loss, for muscle growth, for brain cognitivity in veterans and people that are dealing with TBIs and all kinds of other things. Sleep is number one most important thing. Outside of that, it is going to wreck your endocrine system. So now you're lowering your testosterone, you're dragging your hormones down, which is part that matters most for men watching this, right? Like, the reality is, it is going to wreck your testosterone. So now you're already gaining weight. You're already a guy walking around with low T. And then next thing you know, the alcohol is digging that hole deeper. With low T, you're getting depressed. Then it's a negative snowball effect. Lower T, worse sleep, worse mood, more depression, more fat, more lethargic. And so what do? You reach for another drink to solve the problem, and then boom, you're right back in that same loop. And you're not weak for being in that loop, but you are weak if you're staying in that and you're not breaking the loop and making the decision. So what I replaced it with was this: dealing with my shit. All right. I did not just remove the alcohol. I replaced it with training. I replaced it with intention. I replaced it with jiu-jitsu. I replaced it with fixing a sleep hygiene protocol. I fixed the hormonal picture, with TRT, et cetera. Like, I wanted to optimize it instead of numbing it. The drink was never the problem. It was the thing that I was using to cover up the problem. And that's why I said I had to deal with my shit, because it will wreck your life, and it will put you in a place to where it just masks all your bullshit. But at the end of the day, guys, if you are tired of feeling like garbage and you suspect your hormones are part of it, it's worth getting checked by the people who actually know what they're looking for. And that is what Core Medical is built for. And if this video hit the nail on anything that I talked about, because it is difficult to stop. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So if getting your hormones checked and going, oh, wow, I'm seeing the damage that this is creating in my labs, not just the way that I'm feeling, but also on paper, well, then it starts to paint a different picture. And you're like, okay, I need to cut back. I need to start, not quitting, but replacing. We're replacing one for the other. But there's a link below, guys. You can go get your blood work checked. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I reply to them all. You can drop a comment in below and talk to me in this video. But I don't want you, if you're struggling, I don't want you to do a negative snowball effect. Let's pivot to a positive snowball effect and start making some positive changes and positive habits. If you are struggling with addiction, struggling with alcohol, listen, go to a meeting, find an AA group, find a sponsor, find a brother that's going to help you. Be vulnerable, be open, and say, listen, I've got a problem and I need help. All right. Strength. It takes more strength to ask for help than it does to be silent. Being silent and sitting on your couch and just pouring another drink, that's the coward move. The real ballsy move is going, hey man, I'm drinking, I'm having a hard time, and I need a lot of help. And that's what real strength looks like. So I'm rooting for you. Reach out to somebody, get help. Definitely get your hormones checked, because that will be a huge pivot for you. Links below. We'll see you in the next video. Peace. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Remember to like it. Remember to drop me a comment. I want to respond to it. I'm actually the one responding to the comments. And if you like this video, you're going to absolutely love this one right here.